Greetings Graviteam Tactics Mius front players to my ambitiously titled So You Want to Win playing Graviteam Tactics Mius front, and this time using the Leopards Leap DLC. So we'll be playing on hard level as per usual, and the new player jumps into his new DLC and sees the historical background on the turn. Has a quick look at the tactical map, clicks over and makes an opening move similar to one I recommended in a previous video of having the two motorised infantry units forward and the Ratel 90s in depth. A good choice, but certainly not the only one. So there we go, we have our offered combat, and our enthusiastic new player accepts the mission. A quick look at the operational map and some of the units under his command. A Ratel command vehicle, Buffle, our Ratel 90s, the Caspers, and before you know it, we're on our way. So this guy's on the ball. He's decided to unload his motorised infantry. Nothing worse than getting your Caspers and Buffles shot to pieces with your infantry inside. So at least we're off to a good start. Whoop, we have a contact up here already. So we'll be aggressive. We'll select them all and attack this guy. Hopefully an RPG 9 will take him out. More vehicles. So some more traffic on our eastern flank. Even more. Oh, at least we're firing. That must be a good thing. So the Ratel 90s of taking on the Angolan hordes. Okay, so we're going to try and save our Ratel 90s at this stage by giving them a massive reverse and see if the smoke will buy us some time to get us under cover somewhere, or out of direct line of sight of all these Indians on the horizon. So we're not going too bad so far. We're 5 minutes in and we haven't even lost one Ratel 90. So all's going well. Try and get our ZT3 into a good firing location. Obviously we'll need him to be firing on all cylinders if we're to pull this out of the fire. So meanwhile our westernmost units have got their own problems. We'll see if we can rescue their vehicles. So our new player's not doing that bad so far. We'll clock past 5 minutes. And we've got the shooting happening. What's happened now? Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of our RTL 90s are suppressed, but they're still alive and moving, so that's not such a bad thing. Whoops. Something just went up in flames. And we're getting artillery as well, so we're certainly under the pump. So it's a hot start to Leopards Leap opening scenario. Now there's a hit. Something to be mildly optimistic about. Whoops. Our ZT3 is already on fire. Still have 4 RTL 90s suppressed, which isn't the greatest outcome. But at least they're firing. Oops. Well, this easternmost bunch look like they're advancing on us as well. We can't get the troops out of the buffers because they're all suppressed. And there's a disturbing number of explosions around our RTL 90 position. So we've got 1, 2, 3 on fire, 4 on fire and 2 suppressed. It's looking increasingly grim. Oops. Okay, and this chap's got damage. At least our other RTL 90's firing, that's something. Quite a few of our motorised infantry units are flashing, that's never a good sign. We've almost survived 10 minutes of the opening scenario, and the best part of our RTL 90 fleet has been wiped out. So our despondent but enthusiastic new player immediately gets out of the game, goes to the forums and posts something like Space Dorito Guy does. I'm sure many of us at various times can empathise with Dorito Guy and the seeming exasperation of learning Graviteam tactics. But with a little bit of reading of the manuals and a bit of experimentation, we can fairly easily get back into the fight with a seeming chance. So what we'll do is we'll recreate the last turn. We'll do the same moves on the tactical map, but this time we'll go to the battle groups list and we will use some of our reserves. So 2 clicks, and will that make any difference? Perhaps for even Space Dorito Guy. So we repeat the formation that we had in the first attempt. So there's our battle. Notice how the battle space is different. We only have enemy coming from the front, so we've already registered 1 change. But everything else is as we saw it previously, except that our reinforcements appear on the map. Note that our Ratel 90s now are oriented towards the north side of the map. But they are still in the arrived status. So the battle kicks off as much as it was before. Our motorised infantry D-bus. Right, so I've fast forwarded to 1:55. So we're almost 5 minutes in. You can see our Ratel 90s are providing some long range support, pinging off some of their vehicles. We only have the Angolan forces in the north. Certainly we've still got some problems to overcome, but at this stage I would say we're in pretty good shape. So what has actually happened? If we go to page 9, the relevant section is, in addition, depending on the operation, operational points can also be awarded for keeping platoons and battle groups in reserve. And also on page 10, point 6, forces remained in the reserve. The ratio of forces that have not entered the battle to the total number of player forces. Staff and support units that are outside the map border, i.e. on the perimeter, and cannot move are not counted. So how we can read this is that it is like a difficulty level. If we want to try and get maximum points on the hardest level, we try and not use reinforcements. But in using reinforcements, it then lowers the level of the opposition. So in the case in point, we didn't get those pile of units from the east or the overall number of units that are in the forces. And you'll also see by just our simple example here, using Leopards Leap, that by the 10-minute mark, we're in a pretty good position and we have a very good chance of getting a good result. We just need to negotiate our way through some of their tanks and some of their vehicles, which shouldn't be too difficult, and we have a sufficient number of infantry and supporting units to gain a victory. So if you're a beginner, you might decide to use the reinforcements at normal level, whereas if you're a more experienced player, you might try hard or very hard, but use all the reinforcements, to make it more of a challenge. So that is one of the ways you can adjust the level of the game to suit your particular experience and playing style. Also check out page 14 of the manual for ways to personalise your Graviteam Tactics experience. Sometimes as a beginner it's best to have less detail and have more quality practice, rather than try and wrestle the monster. Also keep in mind, if you're getting totally smashed on the tactical map, it's probably something on the operational map you're not doing or doing wrong. So be prepared to experiment a bit on the operational map as well as the tactical map. Well, I hope you found the presentation interesting and perhaps added something to your knowledge of Graviteam Tactics. So enjoy your gaming and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Cheers.